I am joined by Robert Griffin III, James White, Field Yates Meanakeims.
All right, so first play we're going to look at, 2nd and 2, one of the Patriots' first offensive plays.
Let's start right off the bat with, I would say, the biggest actual piece of hard news of the day, and that is that the Patriots waived wide receiver KJ Osborn. According to reports, it was a mutual agreement between the wide receiver and the team. Osborn, call it like it was not great with the Patriots this season, signed on a 1-year, $4 million contract. Towards the back half, the latter half of their free agent push, if you will, this offseason, he was, I think, one of the final guys signed, him and Jalen Hawkins at safety. So they release him. Schefter saying that he'll look to tag onto a team here that he'll be able to essentially play more down the stretch. And I think that this move really, to me, is a signal that they're going to look to play these younger guys, get Jalen Polk really in the mix, not take him off the field, not take him off the field, but his play will increase. Javon Baker as well, rookie 4th round pick, trying to get him into the mix. And Andrew Callahan, actually, I heard him talking about it this morning on 98.5 The Sports Hub, where saying that the idea of tanking, you're never going to tank, obviously, but when you say, oh, we're going to play our younger guys, that's sort of the NFL tanking, where you put the younger guys out there, you see what happens. The wins and losses don't actually matter. And that's kind of what this feels like to me for the Patriots. So Osborn released. What's the face? You don't like that connotation?
Considering what we're going to talk about later, I really do not see how this is a move to tank.
No. Sorry. And I don't want to put words in Andrew's mouth. He didn't mean it like that. But I'm saying where it's like you can't actually say it. And I don't think they're looking to lose, but it's the way of you're tanking without tanking, where I'm trying to explain how I kind of say how I
think that by putting the young players in, yes, there is going to be some level of, backsliding unless they show great improvement. But I don't think this was I think what Mayo said was honest in that they just want to get those younger guys experience. I don't think it has anything to do with what them wanting to be better or worse record-wise. I think they want to be better, they want to win, but I also think that they understand if they don't give these young guys opportunities, or at least they don't earn them and really step up, then you're going into the offseason saying these are unproven commodities that we cannot rely on in 2024-5.
100%. So Osborn's gone. Before we get into the bigger storyline here, and that is the 2024 free agency class as a whole, I know I kind of said my piece on the wide receiver room, but your thoughts on the actual release of Osborn, what that means for the receiver room. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Your quick hitter thoughts on this move.
Yeah, so the initial thought was, why did it take so long? Because we thought this would happen maybe once he was no longer on the waiver wire and wouldn't have to go to whatever team claimed him, like Yannick Ngakoue did when he was cut by Baltimore and the Patriots picked him up. We heard that he planned to sign to a practice squad, either on the Bengals or the Ravens, I believe it was, on some team that has playoff aspirations.
Right.
Ended up getting picked up by the Patriots. They had a discussion, whatever. So we were thinking around that time, okay, KJ's probably going to get cut after that. Then weeks turned into a month, and we were saying, all right, what's going on? Why is this taking so long? Then I thought about it. If they had cut KJ Osborn after the waiver wire things, that would have been week 7, week 8 or something like that.
Right.
They would have had to go, and this was before they were out of playoff contention, mind you. So, obviously, I think they were still fighting for that, and I think it would have been really hard for Mayo to sit there and make moves that made it look like they were kind of very aggressively gearing towards next season. But yeah, if you would cut KJ Osborn, you got the 3 top guys, right? You got Kendrick Bourne, who was still kind of working his way back, in terms of chemistry with Drake. You got Kayshon Boutte, who's been a fixture since mid-season when he really started to pick up steam. And then obviously Pop Douglas. Behind them, it was KJ Osborn, who ended up having to come in against the Bears, Jalen Polk and Javon Baker. Polk and Baker, as we know, have done nothing. KJ Osborn's done nothing, but neither have Polk and Baker.
Right.
They've really been on the field. Even when Polk's on the field, a lot of the time it feels like he's not really on the same page as Drake or not executing his assignment the way you'd ideally like or what have you. So if they cut KJ Osborn, especially before this part of the season where it's the last month, it's all right, like we said, we're trying to get these young guys and see what they are about. You would have kind of been stuck with 2 rookies as your only other backups. Now, Osborn, other than the Bears game, wasn't really getting in, so obviously that wasn't a huge factor. But if one of those guys like Kendrick Bourne or Pop Douglas had gone down, you'd feel better about KJ Osborn in that spot than you would Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, at least to that point. So that to me explains why it might have taken so long. I know that people wanted him cut after the whole comment or, the post with his agent and everything, or his friend, whatever it was, where, it was mentioned that he wasn't even supposed to play in that game in Germany. That was like a blip on the radar, though. Like, yeah, that decision by him, but we have not heard anything else. There was not a peep from KJ Osborn. If anything, we saw him being a great teammate on the sideline, hyping guys up and making sure they were, getting the love they deserved. And based on everything we've heard, I'm sure he was also a positive presence behind the scenes. So, I mean, when he was signed, we knew this was Kendrick Bourne experience. In my roster projections, I didn't even know if KJ Osborn was going to make the roster. I figured if Kayshon Boutte really started to show up, then he might be a casualty because he was only on a one-year deal. So this doesn't surprise me. None of this surprises me. I didn't see this as the kind of like difference-making move necessarily. Like obviously in Minnesota, he had some success downfield, but with Jacoby Brissett, that wasn't going to happen. And even in the summer, we saw him get a little bit something going downfield. That pretty much evaporated once the regular season started. So I hope he gets to go to a playoff team, compete and play into January and all that. Good for him. I think the Patriots, like I said, this is a move they needed to make, especially with it seeming like Cole Strange is going to be activated off injured reserve. And as we know,
breaking news.
Oh, sheesh. Okay.
Cole Strange has been activated off of
There you go. There you go. Oh my goodness. Yep.
Yeah. So I was gonna let you go on your spiel. I was gonna kind of transition to that. I know we don't have much more on Cole because we did our whole reinforcements video. It was expected, but it just came off Schefter's Twitter like 60 seconds ago that Cole Strange will be activated. So he's going to be on the active roster. They'll have to make a move there. Positive stuff. I think again, I hate to sort of steer away from content, but we knew this was coming, and it feels like that's a good thing. So I think we can kind of continue on with KJ. But quick thoughts, then I guess we'll go to KJ. We'll go with your thoughts on Strange returning before we look at this free agent class.
Yeah. So with Cole Strange, I think that I just want to make sure expectations are tempered because this is a guy who has not played in almost a full calendar year of football. That's asking a lot of anybody, especially someone coming off a significant injury like he was. He's been at practice, but these weren't really contact practices. So he's going to be banging and really like getting into the thick of things for the first time this week. So let's make sure we keep things, we understand what the situation is. Ben Brown, I posted earlier today, since week 10 has been the third best center in terms of pressure allowed. It's only been like 1.7% or something like that. And he's been pretty solid as a run blocker. Not great. That's probably the biggest area you'd like to upgrade. He's not an excellent run blocker or anything like that. And I think that's one of Cole Strange's strengths. So obviously Cole gives you more. He was a first round pick. Even if he should have been a second or third, Ben Brown wasn't drafted, or at least, he wasn't that high of a priority for teams when he was a rookie. So I think Cole Strange coming back is awesome. I don't know when exactly we'll see him on the field. I don't know if it'll be this week. I don't know if it'll be next week. He had to be activated so he could even play because they didn't activate him this week. He would have just been on injured reserve for the season, and you'd have no idea what you really had at him as a potential center prospect. So it's exciting. I've been saying for years I think Cole Strange is best at center, and now maybe he'll get a chance to prove that and potentially be the successor to David Andrews.
Yeah, glad you kind of tempered the expectations as far as playing this week. You wonder if it'll happen. Again, he's been rehabbing for quite some time now, so we'll see if he can sort of get in the pads this week. I don't think they were in pads yesterday, so he hasn't really even practiced in pads yet. So you mentioned sort of getting those first couple hits and contact practices under him, but they did have to activate him because of the 21-day window that he had been now subjected to since being on IR. So good for Strange. He gets activated. We'll see where he can kind of file in here over these next 4 weeks. You do want to see what he can bring to the table heading into 2025. So back to KJ Osborn for a second and back to this free agent class as a whole. Before we get to the class, quickly on KJ, he was a really good pro here. And you mentioned it. And I know the blip on the radar with the social media thing happened, and it was regrettable. And he even apologized for it. But one of the things that, one of my favorite sort of behind the scenes KJ Osborn stories is, I think it was 4 or 5 weeks ago, all of this crap was happening around, and the Patriots were in a lull. They hadn't won many games. He scored that touchdown. He did the call God thing. He was in the the news, whatever. And he was also talking about, it was right around the trade deadline where he had mentioned that, he'll be where his feet are and wherever.
Yeah, all the typical, I might get cut, traded.
Yeah, right. But
like, I'm not going to be here.
And in that, the Patriots brought in Braylon Sanders on their practice squad. For lack of a better term, a no-name, bottom of the roster wide receiver. And his first day there, I watched Osborn walk out to practice with Braylon Sanders right next to him. And I'm
that's awesome.
This guy is just, has no business being with the Patriots. Both of them, frankly, Osborn and Sanders. And Osborn still grabs him, takes him under his wing, and starts to kind of teach him the way around the Patriots. I thought that was really cool. I thought that, to me, showed exactly the kind of player and the kind of locker room guy he is. So wish him well. He was a good pro here. He didn't perform on the field, but good on Osborn for that, I would say. So let's take.
Also, I'll just throw in one last thing, just because I know he was supposed to do something with the Patriots. When the holiday season really came closer to Christmas, I know he was going to do something. I was hoping I'd be able to go and cover it with him, where he was going to help people pay their rent who are kind of in bad financial circumstances, because he was telling me that when he was younger, someone helped pay his mom's rent when they were really struggling as a kid. So again, like a really classy guy. When I say blip on the radar, I mean a blip. He was great to us. He was always kind, always very generous with his time, and by all accounts was also great in the locker room. I just wanted to add that one last thing, because he didn't just take up space. He was more like a Jacoby Brissett, where behind the scenes he's doing a whole lot for a room that lacks a lot of experience.
Yep, for sure. I'm with you there. So hopefully he lands on his feet.